continuing this little series here on tribute to Matthaus, Merian the Elder, because that's when I first became interested in this symbol, or these symbols rather. This is another version of the triangle, square, and circle. And what's interesting about this one is there was a bit of a challenge for me in how to find a square inside a triangle was the kind of the objective here. And I've yet to explore with the symbol to see what else I can find. But this is something I've actually, a kind of a geometrical question I've had for a while, is how do you find that? How do you get a square, inside a triangle, inside an equilateral triangle? And it kind of eluded me for quite a while. And just a couple of days ago, I found out how to do it with a drawing compass, right? Not using a ruler or any other instruments. And so that was the challenge here, how to find a square inside a triangle. And let's see if I can give you a bit of a walkthrough here. So before you find the square, you use that symbol, a triangle. Well, I guess to start with, you draw your circle. Draw a circle, right? Well, set up your vertical and your horizontal axes first. And then draw a circle, and then get a triangle in that circle, which is really easy to do. And then find the square outside of the circle, which is also not too difficult. I won't bother showing all that stuff. And once you have this symbol set up this way, you're basically using your diagonals here from one corner of the square to the other to get that reference point on the edge of that circle. Same thing for that side. Make a diagonal and find that point there where the diagonal intersects with the circle. So you need those 2 points of reference. And then you need to go to your vertical axis down there and make a mark on the horizontal axis from one side to the other, pivoting off that point there. Okay. And once you have that arc, you take those 2 points of reference there, and using your drawing compass, open it up to where it meets the corner of that triangle. Okay. And then make a mark on that side. Same thing on that side. From that point to the corner of that triangle, pivoting off there, make that mark on the right side. So you make that mark and that mark, and where those two intersect with that arc, gives you those 2 points of reference. And then from those points, you don't have to make the whole line, but I've made the whole line here just to show you. So you start from the corner and connect it to that point of reference, and where it intersects with the triangle is the reference point that you need. So you get that on that side and that one on that side. And those two are going to be the top of the square that fits inside the triangle. And then, to get the rest of the square, you simply draw a line, right, which is going to be the top of your square. Draw that line, and then measure from the vertical axis on the top of that square to that reference point on the side of the triangle. Get that measurement. Make one mark there, one mark on that side, and then you just simply fill in the square. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. It's a little bit of work, but it's really interesting in how you can find a square inside an equilateral triangle with your drawing compass. And then you get to that symbol. So this kind of proves that this is, an actual, as I like to call it now, a foundational geometry symbol. And anyway, I thought that was really neat. That was worth sharing. It was something I'd been wondering how they did this for quite a while now, and I just happened to be tinkering around the last couple of days, and I figured out how to do it with the drawing compass. So anyway, for you geometry fans out there, I thought this is really cool. I do have another interesting one. Although it's going to be difficult to go through all of this here. The one I'd been working on previously, right, where you get the 3 triangles that meet at the top, the 108 and the 40 degree and the 60 degree. If you're to, where's my thing here? If you're to fill in that part there, that goes from the middle, from the horizontal of the square, right, from that axis, that would be a 60 degree triangle in there, if you remember my last video on these. And this one, I got all that stuff, the same end result, but I used a different format to get there this time. And it gives you a couple more cool things. And this one is, once again, you basically, to start, set up your vertical axes and your horizontal axes, and although your original other kind of information is going to change depending on how big you make the triangle. But to start with, you need a vertical axis, and just for a general frame of reference, have your horizontal axes, which might not be the actual horizontal axes that you start with, right? Depending on the size of your triangle, but so the top of that triangle is basically going to be where you have your starting, right, horizontal axes and a vertical axis. And you basically, actually, hang on here. Sorry about that. Detract all that information. I've confused myself. Yeah, your vertical axis and your original horizontal axis is going to be here, which is going to be the middle of your triangle. Because what you're going to do is, that's your horizontal, that's your vertical, and then from that point there, draw a circle. Once you have your circle, get your triangle in this formation with it standing on its tip, okay? And then once you have that, the length of the side of the triangle, an equilateral, I mean, they're all the same, but the length of the side is going to be equal to the length of the square, because you need to put a square around that triangle, sharing the same the base over here, the same point on the base. And to do that, you'll have to find a 45-degree angle, okay? Which you should be able to work out. How to get a 45 with a drawing compass and stuff like that. I've kind of showed how to do that before. And once you get your 45s, mark your 45s, and then take your drawing compass just a bit more from that point, and then make an arc from that corner right through to the other corner, and you're probably going to have to go like past this point, past that point. I've erased the lines here, but basically where your 45 and the arc, right, using those two tips of the triangle, where that arc meets the 45, that's going to be those 2 points there. And once you get those 2 points, you obviously have that measurement there, which is that measurement, and you can get the top, which is that. So that's how you get the square. The square on its vertices, right? The square that goes outside of this triangle. And once you get that square, then you can find the larger square that goes around that square, which is not too difficult at all. And everything else is the same as in the other video I showed how to get all that information. Everything else stays the same. It's just getting there is in a different format this time. I'm starting with a triangle, or to get that triangle, you need the circle first, as I just explained. But you're using it in this format with a triangle standing on its tip, and then you have a square that goes around there on its vertices, and then you get the larger square around it all. And that ends up giving you your kind of your horizontal axis that goes through the middle of the two squares. And the other horizontal axis is the middle of the triangle, which is also the middle of that circle. And okay, hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Yeah, unfortunately, I wish I could do this in real time, and you know, as I'm doing my work, but I'm just not set up for that here. I can't do it. As you can see, I'm having a hard enough time just trying to point this information out. And I found something a little bit different from the other one I showed in this same kind of thing here, where to get that distance, right, to get that the 51.42 degree angles that come up to there, instead of getting the measurement from here, from the tip of the triangle to the top of the square, you can get that information from the horizontal axis that goes through the square to the tip of that triangle of the 60, right? And I found it easier to get that measurement this way. And then when you get that measurement there, you simply go to the top of that of the square and mark it there, and that'll give you the same point. It's just a slightly different way of doing it. I just found that way easier. And there was one other thing on here. Actually, there's a couple things. And so that measurement is the same as this one here. From the tip of that triangle to the middle of that arc in the vertical axis, that measurement there, and then you go to the top of the triangle. My God, can you focus? And mark it that way, and it gives you this point down here. And that is the tip of a heptagon, which fits in the bottom of the square. So that's a kind of a little neat thing here. That's how you get that measurement. From there to there, and then mark it from the top of the triangle to there. And it gives you the tip of a heptagon, or a septagon, seven-sided. Okay. Now for another interesting part, which is why in this format, okay, versus the other one I showed you before, something really interesting happens. When you do it this way, okay, as I've left out the other stuff in here, my goodness, I've left out the other stuff in here, the 40 degree and all that stuff, just so this could be more visible. And using the top of that 108, okay, and completing the pentagon, okay, the base lines up with the middle of that circle, and the middle of that triangle, which I thought was really cool. How to get the rest of the pentagon? Well, you've got this measurement here, right? Inside the pentagon, and that's between every 2 points, right? Is that measurement, which is the top of the square? If you take that measurement, if I can show it here, okay, I'm just going to get there approximately here. If you take that measurement with your drawing compass and make a mark, make an arc, right? And then take the measurement of the side, of one of the sides, and then make a mark like that, where those two arcs intersect, will give you a point, that point there. And if you do that on the other side, you'll get the other end of the base of the pentagon. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. So basically you're getting, Jesus, you're getting that measurement here. Okay, you're getting that, and then you're using that point up there to find that one here, and then use one of the sides and make an arc from that point. And so where those two arcs, the length of that and the length of that, you're using that arc, make a mark, and then you're using that measurement, make a mark, and where those two arcs meet, it's going to give you those 2 points. Do it from that side, and you do it from that side, and you get the pentagon. Okay. Just shaking all over the place. Lighting issues are a challenge as usual. Apologies for that, but hopefully this was worth sharing, and it's interesting. Anyway, I thought that was really cool. How that just, it lines up with the horizontal axis in the circle, which is also the middle of the triangle. And in the other stuff I shared, it gives you how to get the tip of a septagon. If you wish to fill that out, if you have more room. I didn't have room. I would have filled that out. And yeah, so that is this part 2, continuing from the one I did previously on this one. This is a part 2, and also the additional how to find a square inside a triangle. And so I'll leave it there.